Well, hello, welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your day today to join today's discussion, Making the Longitudinal Care Record a Reality with Identity Data Management. My name is Jesse Eichhorn. I'm the Director of Product Marketing for Identity Solutions here at Lineate, and I'll be your moderator and your first speaker here today. I'm really excited to be joined by my colleague, Lynn Stoltz, Senior Product Manager of Identity here at Lineate. She comes to Lineate by way of Cerner, so she has an extensive amount of experience with developing healthcare products, and she's a subject matter expert in the area of identity data management, and she'll be sharing a lot of great insight with you here today. A couple additional comments, administrative items before we begin. Everyone who's joining live today is in listen-only mode. So if you do have a question, please plug it into the chat. We've allocated some time at the end to address those questions that come through. And we're recording today's session, so if you're joining live, you'll be getting a recording sent to you within the next 24 hours for your review. So with that, let's jump right in. Today's agenda, the longitudinal care record. I'm going to spend a few minutes just making sure everyone's aligned, some background information in terms of a definition around longitudinal care record, how the industry has progressed as it relates to, bringing a longitudinal care record to life across the different healthcare settings. Then we're going to sort of pivot to, our main proposition for today. The EMPI is the enabler for a successful implementation of a true longitudinal care record. At this point, I'm going to hand it off to Lynn, who's going to talk a little bit more about key EMPI capabilities to drive success in bringing the longitudinal care record to life. And then I'm going to be closing us out before Q&A with a couple really poignant customer examples, customers we've worked with that have had tremendous success in doing this, and recognizing the importance of EMPI in terms of bringing the longitudinal care record to life. So that's the plan for today. Once again, let's jump right on into the content. So the longitudinal care record defined. There are many different definitions, many different takes on what a longitudinal care record is. In fact, longitudinal care record has a number of different names. I've compiled this sort of composite definition just for those of you who may not be as familiar with the concept or may not have direct experience with the idea of the longitudinal care record. I would offer that it's a single, complete patient care record, and it's comprised of data from multiple sources in care settings, so not just within the system itself, but comprised of data sources that exist outside of the immediate healthcare system, et cetera. It's a foundation for the practice of value-based care to ensure that everyone who's providing care to the patient has access to a complete accounting of the care that individual has received and is able to care plan accordingly. And it supports management of patient health over time. So with this comprehensive view and longitudinal view of the care record, it helps with long-term care management for patients as they move from provider to provider, from organization to organization, and as their complexity of care grows over time. So I would offer that as sort of a base for us to start from in terms of defining what the longitudinal care record is. So let's talk about industry progress with regard to longitudinal care record. We could probably spend a whole session just on the evolution of progress within the industry in terms of data exchange and bringing the longitudinal care record to life. Many of you in line probably have direct experience and may construct this slide a little bit differently, but I would offer some key points along the way in terms of data exchange and bringing this care record to reality. Going back to high tech and health information exchanges, I'm sure many of you are involved in the achievement of meaningful use in the implementation of electronic health records to accelerate the digitization and exchange of healthcare data. I think at that point we really saw a lot of meaningful progress in terms of turning things from analog to digital as it relates to care information and facilitating meaningful exchange both within and outside of the organization. Working with our customers, COVID-19, of course, in response to COVID-19, I think was another sort of moment where, the concept and momentum towards bringing the longitudinal care record to life took a step forward. I think it exposed the need for exchange beyond traditional healthcare settings, and facilitated a lot of analysis and a lot of planning that I think maybe wasn't given priority before that point. You can't forget the way that data itself is actually exchanged. So cloud, FHIR, API, these are new ways of exchanging data more efficiently and more dynamically. And I think the introduction of technology into this concept here has helped, speed and accelerate, the sharing of information that contributes to what would be a longitudinal care record. Then, of course, from a policy perspective, TEFCA, the Trusted Exchange Framework and Common Agreement, the designation of a recognized coordinating entity, and QHIN designations, I think will only continue to accelerate the progress that's been made to date. As it relates to any of these topics, if you're unfamiliar or interested in learning more, we have tremendous resources on our website in terms of explaining what all of these are and how it impacts not only the longitudinal care record, but data exchange in general. So as we look forward, and to what end are we sharing this data? There are a number of different programs, initiatives, ways of thinking about delivering care that I know our customers are grappling with, dealing with, developing plans for, from health equity and social determinants of health to the continued consolidation within the healthcare industry, new and better ways of engaging with patients, engaging with customers to ensure that they're coming back to your organization, data warehousing and developing data sets to support AI and machine learning initiatives to derive insights to better performance business, to better deliver care, maybe a more personalized basis, population health, digital front door, all these concepts are related in some way to the longitudinal care record, and in many cases, the longitudinal care record is fundamental to them being successful. So I wanted to share some important metrics. If you joined us a few webinars back, you may have come across or remember these metrics as well. We think about the longitudinal care record and bringing it to life. These metrics sort of underscore the importance or some of the gap that we need to bridge in terms of true, complete patient care, empowering everything we're trying to do within the industry. So I'll offer you a few stats that sort of put this into focus. 86%, so 86% of nurses, physicians, IT practitioners say they've witnessed or that they know of a medical error that was the result of patient misidentification. I think this statistic is pretty powerful in that it illustrates that while data exchange and creating comprehensive records of care is paramount, ensuring that that care is directly correlated to the patient who's actually receiving the care, and there's no confusion as to who the patient is still a challenge that organizations need to grapple with, especially as data and patients are coming from many different care settings. Data is coming from many different systems. All of this needs to be defragmented, desiloed, and presented in a way that can ensure the delivery of safe and informed patient care. As we look at the digital engagement and patient engagement side of things, 50%, this statistic is enlightening, and I don't know that it would be terribly surprising if it's the first time you're seeing it. 50% of consumers report that one bad digital experience with a healthcare provider ruins that entire experience. Patients, customers have expectations, and they want to maintain a level of trust with whatever organization they're interacting with, getting care from. So catering to these expectations is going to be increasingly critical as healthcare continues to go more digital, and maintaining those customers and patients, something that every healthcare organization should have top of mind. And the fact that a single bad digital experience, maybe the omission of information that a patient would have expected you to be knowledgeable of or present back to them, can erode the trust that exists between your organization and the patient. And then finally, along the same vein, 28% of patients switch providers because of a poor digital health experience. I think these are two sides of the same coin, but this statistic really illustrates that there is concerted decision making going on the part of the consumer base as it relates to their engagement with the organization and their understanding of each and every person and the care history that comes with them. So these are important statistics to keep in mind, I think, as you're contemplating and refining longitudinal care record strategies at your organization, and underscore the importance of doing so successfully. So we would posit, and as we alluded to in the introduction, EMPI is the enabler in many ways of a successful longitudinal care record program. Data exchange obviously plays a critical role in ensuring that information is made available to all systems and at the point of care to influence quality patient care, but ensuring that organizations and systems understand a single best record for each individual within that particular population or within the healthcare system is critical. And it's something that we have a tremendous experience with. It's comprised of aggregating data from a number of different sources and sites of care, matching records and resolving duplicates at an enterprise level, so one patient, one record, and establishing that single record for each person. And then, of course, and arguably most importantly, it's one thing to have that record defined, but then enabling the coordinated access to and sharing of data around that information to activate it throughout the entire organization and outside of the organization is a key and critical component of successfully activating a longitudinal care record strategy at your organization. And for those of you familiar with Lineate, this construct may be familiar to you if you're new to Lineate and how we think about this challenge and how we solve for it. This is a good diagram. Unlocking the full potential of your data. It's important to ensure that care data is exchanged freely, effectively, efficiently, throughout your ecosystem and beyond your organization. But it's also important to ensure that data is classified and clean so that it can be activated once it gets to where it needs to go. So this construct sort of demonstrates how we think about this entire ecosystem, and they're all interrelated. Here we have identity at the center as it relates to our EMPI and our provider registry solutions, but ensuring that records are aligned and there's a single record for each patient is fundamental to everything that you're trying to do in terms of successful data exchange and how we think about enabling a successful longitudinal care record strategy. So with that, I want to pivot and bring in my colleague Lynn here. Key EMPI capabilities through our experience and through working with customers who have done so successfully. Key EMPI capabilities that really bring the longitudinal care record to life, and areas that you should be digging into, considering, becoming more knowledgeable about as you pursue a more mature longitudinal care record strategy. In these categories, we've broken them into 4, and we'll be digging deep into each one of these. But broadly speaking, they consist of connectivity, scalability, advanced data management, and health equity and social determinants of health, or SDOH. So with that construct laid in front of us, Lynn, I'd like to bring you into the conversation here and hand it off to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jesse. Hello, everyone. So like Jesse already touched on, as you're planning to go through this process of creating a longitudinal care record for your patients, for your people, or maybe you're already going down this path and you need some help in connecting those sources, having a seamless exchange of data, or in the deduplication of those patients and making sure that there's the correct picture for that patient, we'd love to partner with you and talk about your needs in that area and really be able to come alongside you with our expertise to assist in your creation of the longitudinal care record. So as Jesse already very clearly laid out for us, creating this longitudinal care record is creating a full picture of the patient across their encounters, many different systems, visits, facilities. And so as you can imagine, that's a really large amount of data to connect, a large amount of records from many different systems, a large amount of transactions to update that. And so really what's going to be the base and the foundation of an identity management solution or of an EMPI to create that 360 view of the patient is connectivity. So connectivity, integrating systems together, having a seamless flow of that data is really the foundation and is so important to an implementation of an EMPI and the success of the creation of this longitudinal care record. So again, as Lineate experts in integration, we have expertise to be able to partner with you and find the best architecture, the best way to ensure that that data is flowing seamlessly and is connecting appropriately into the EMPI, which can then start doing the deduplication and cleaning of that data to help you create that 360 view of the patient. In addition to connecting the data seamlessly, cleaning the data, and deduplicating the patient, we also want to ensure that we're helping you activate that data downstream. And a part of that activation is ensuring that the data is flowing appropriately to all of your downstream systems, that it's able to be used appropriately, that it's up to date in real time. And to do that, we have our outbound notifications that enable you to activate your data appropriately. So what outbound notifications are doing are really just ensuring that data is getting to the right places, is flowing into those downstream systems appropriately, is staying up to date in real time in those systems. And then if you have any data and analytics that need to be using that data, those are always up to date and accurate in real time, which we believe is very, very important for initiatives at your organization and just really appropriately using the data that's coming from the creation of that longitudinal care record to appropriately care for your patients. So those are a couple of the first two parts to connectivity. Really the base of the EMPI and how that plays into creating a longitudinal care record. I want to walk through a few other pieces that we think are just some things to look out for and some important questions to ask when starting to go down this path. The next is scalability. So as I already touched on, there's many different records. You may have growth in your patients and the number of people you're looking at in your organization. And there's also an increase in the number of transactions over time that may be updating these records, activating these records, changing data. And so we ensure with our product that we have extreme stability and extreme scalability over time as your records or transactions are increasing and flowing into the system to ensure that you have very, very high uptime, that you have extreme stability in the product, and that again, you're always able to use the data effectively. It's always doing what it needs to in the background for you to create this 360 view of the patient. And then ultimately you can take that data and use it however you need to appropriately care for those patients. So scalability is very important in thinking about this. The next thing I want to touch on is overlay management and advanced data management when it comes to thinking about the longitudinal care record. So overlays are created when there's an MRN or an identification number for a patient that is overlaid with information from a completely different person. That overlay could be accidentally done manually by a person that just accidentally put new information into a record for a completely different person, or it could be done by a bug or an issue with a system that begins to reuse identification numbers for two different people over time. As you can imagine, overlays can be extremely dangerous and cause a lot of issues for patients because data could be mixed between the two patients. There could be medications, results that are being shared, and it really muddies the water. Something that we're really, really focused on is overlay resolution and ensuring that we're siloing that data, that we're making sure that that data is not going to affect other people and cause patient care impacts, and that we're enabling you to be able to resolve those issues as efficiently as possible. So in our more recent versions, we've really focused and honed in on this and optimized the way we're handling overlays. So we are now automatically quarantining these as soon as they are identified. We are displaying to you the ability to see the number of overlays you have and if those are increasing, so you can see if there's a major increase, that there's a problem, and you know that right away. And in addition to automatically quarantining those and reducing the amount of errors that could happen from them, we're also enabling you to have an extremely simple and efficient workflow to resolve them as well as you possibly can. So we just really want to partner with you in this area and ensure that anytime there is data that's overlapping, that we're helping you resolve it as easily as possible to have that true picture of the patient over time that is always accurate. And then finally, I want to talk to you about social determinants of health data and how that may play into this longitudinal care record. So we talked about, the data that you're receiving from EHRs or lab systems, radiology systems, et cetera. But there's also a whole other layer of data that can be used and can be pulled into really truly creating a 360 view of that patient, including their social determinants of health data. So in addition to connecting all the data from those systems, there's also the option to layer the social determinants of health data along with that and really analyzing the risk level of that patient for health issues when it comes to those social factors. So as you can see here, this is just an image that can show you how some of that data may be used. The lighter colors are showing more of a low risk factor for health issues related to social determinants of health data, whereas the darker colors are going to be a higher risk factor for health issues related to SDOH data. So as you can see here, there's a large array of different areas and places where there's low risk, there's medium risk, there's high risk, but having this type of data that can help you gauge the risk of your patient and know their needs and help them meet their needs where they are can be really effective in helping you, increase your value-based care and ensuring you're having equity of how you're treating patients, and in just making sure that you have a true picture of that patient and everything to do with them that could affect their health. So with this, we have some customers that are using data just like this that's shown here to be able to prioritize their patients, to know their risk level, to know where they may be struggling, and to be able to approach those topics with them sensitively and be able to provide the care they need, as well as help them meet the needs that they may not be receiving with community-based health resources. So we have some really great customers that are already doing this today. And I'm also excited to share with you that in our next couple upcoming releases, we're going to be able to start offering some more features and functionality related to social determinants of health to really help you see the full picture of your patient and where they may be at high risk. All right, Jesse, I will pass it back off to you to talk through a couple of our customer use cases.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lynn, for that. So that's connectivity, scalability, advanced data management, and social determinants of health. I think those are really good guideposts for thinking about how to select the right approach for EMPI as it relates to bringing the longitudinal care record to life. So as Lynn said, I'd like to highlight a couple of great customer examples, customers of ours that have had success in doing just that. Quick reminder first, though, any questions you have, please drop them into the chat. We'd be happy to address at the end of the presentation here in just a few minutes. So a couple of customer examples, Sync Health, and for each of these examples, we have compiled a more comprehensive case study. I'd really recommend, if you're interested in more information, either reaching out to us or finding the case study on our website. And you can learn a lot more about what they've done and connect with us to talk through their approach and how it relates to what you're trying to do. But Sync Health, for those that don't know, they're a designated health information exchange for Nebraska and Western Iowa, and at the forefront of health data utility model as it relates to health information exchange. Some of the things that they've been able to do in their territory, they've helped constituents connect with more than 4,000 health and social agencies and programs to improve the health and health equity across their their states. They provided Nebraskans with access to their health data through a web-based application that brings an individual's health information from multiple providers into one place. And this is a direct manifestation of their efforts to bring the longitudinal care record to life. They've utilized data exchange, population health analytics to provide critical insights and inform their COVID-19 response. And you can see here the quote from their CEO, Jamie Bland, about comprehensive patient information to support their various clinical and business objectives. Sync Health has done a really nice job of bringing the longitudinal care record to life with the help of Lineate solutions, including Lineate EMPI. And secondly, and finally, I'd like to call attention to Connecting Care from over in the UK. Connecting Care is a partnership and a system for digital record care sharing across 13 organizations and more than 2,000 users in Bristol, North Somerset, and South Gloucestershire in the UK. What's interesting about Connecting Care is they operate in the space of social care, which isn't necessarily tied to the NHS national identifier as it relates to care. So they have pioneered a partnership for data exchange and service of patients looking for social care outside of the core, NHS trust system. And they've been awarded for it with a winner, EHL role winner and integrated care award back in 2015. One patient record from 13 disparate systems across health and social care settings, from social workers, local government, mental health, NHS trusts themselves, GPs, A&E, and GP out of hours. So they're able to aggregate data from all these different sources, 13, in order to create a single longitudinal care record to help those providing care, particularly social care, to their constituents, the information they need to provide informed and safe care. When we captured their story, they had processed more than 6.5 million records, and I expect that number has grown quite considerably since then. And you can see here a quote from their program director, Andy Kinnear, about how strategically important digital agenda is and their transition plans for health and social care locally by bringing to life, longitudinal care and service of their social care patients. So two great customer examples. Once again, for more information, like I said, please reach out. We'd be happy to talk more about this and how it relates to your situation, or you can read these case studies yourself on our website. So with that, I would like to bring us to a close and open up the Q&A portion of today's discussion. Please do, if you have a question, type it into chat and we'll be sure to address it. I've got, looking at the list here, I've got a question for you. Maybe this is something I'll throw over to you, Lynn. Questions about implementation, what the implementation process looks like. We talked a little bit, I guess, about EMPI and its role within an entire data ecosystem. They need to clean data, but as it relates to the EMPI, what does the process look like for implementation of a solution like this?
Absolutely. So I talked about with patients, meeting them where they are. We're really in that same mindset with our implementations. We can implement and meet you exactly where you are with what you need. And we really have a mindset for our implementations when it comes to the specificity of how we're delivering the EMPI. So we make sure that we are providing the data model, the specificity that you need to meet your population's needs and whatever population that you have, while still creating an implementation that's as efficient as you need, as efficient as possible. As I discussed earlier, integration is also a really big part of our implementation processes. And so that's just a great part and an area in our implementation that we can really partner with you and provide that expertise to make that data flow seamless into the EMPI.
That's awesome. Incredible. Looking here, list of questions. I know, well, we do have one more. I'll throw it out to you again, Lynn. This one's about how customers address duplicate patient records. How do most customers address duplicate patient records? So obviously, when it comes to creating a single best record, you're dealing with duplicate patient records. So from your experience, from our experience, how do most customers go about addressing those?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can imagine, the EMPI is working in the background and handling most of those on its own. There's a few percentage that have to be resolved above and beyond that, and we have many different ways that you can choose to resolve those. So we have referential resolution, which is a way to apply external data to fill in the gaps of your records and just increase the resolution that you have for records that may not have a large amount of information. We also have the ability to use a resolution method using patient engagement. So going to the patient and allowing them to fill in the gaps, answer questions, and be able to resolve those records. And then we also have robust data stewardship tools. So if you have a team that can take a look at those issues and wants to really dive and dig in, we have robust data management tools for that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Lynn. Looking at the chat here to see if anything else has come in. That might be our last question for today. So great session. With that, I want to close this out here. For those of you tuning in live or those of you listening to the recording, you're making the longitudinal care record a reality with identity data management. Hopefully this provided some good perspective. It hopefully gave you, some things to consider as it relates to not only identity data management, but some of the things you want to look for in terms of optimizing, your implementation of an EMPI to, one day address your longitudinal care record strategy. So thank you for spending some of your day with us. If you're listening live, recording will be coming your way soon. As always, if you want to discuss further, if you have questions, reach out to us here at Lineate. We're happy to help. A lot of resources on our website for you to learn more and even dig into some of the material we discussed today. But thanks once again, and hopefully talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.